Welcome to the Surf Strong Show, conversations that build a healthy surf community. We break down breathwork, mobility, strength, mindset, and surf travel with surfers and pros from around the world, so you can surf more, hurt less, and stay connected to the ocean. Follow the show for fresh episodes, bonus drops, and free programs. This is a focused mission, and you're part of it. Welcome to this episode of the Surf Strong Express Show, where I dive deeper into a single and applicable to how you can use them in your day-to-day. Today, we're going to be talking about breath and what are practical ways to incorporate breath into and throughout your day. Breath is powerful on so many levels, and it's certainly something that I talk about recurring with clients and remind myself how powerful that is. It really does boost paddle endurance. It keeps you calm under pressure, in and out of the water. It's just applicable in so many ways. So we're going to really focus on ways that you're going to be able to get that into your day-to-day. And as it's true on almost all the things I coach, habits and micro habits, how they stack and how they reinforce to arc into that positive progression is central. You learn from the past and then you let go and you stay right in that present opportunity that you have, because it's truly the only thing we do have is that present moment. So always thinking about that positive reinforcement. I love the idea of neutral, begin again, beginner mindset, whatever you want to frame it in. You're always looking to learn and progress from whatever point you are. And what that allows you is it allows you the freedom to really stay open to learning in so many different ways and areas. If you think of yourself as an expert in something, you're naturally going to shut off to either seeing something in a child or somebody trying something for the first time. And that is a really powerful opportunity to stay present in, is to watch, reflect that back onto your own habits. What has become ingrained in me that I just take as that's the way it is? All of those are opportunities to improve. And breath is probably the penultimate place that you can do this, because it is both voluntary and involuntary. You're breathing throughout the night. You're not thinking about it. Obviously, you're asleep. That happens throughout the day too. So that short mouth, chest breath is an opportunity to go deeper, nasal, diaphragmatic, using your diaphragm deep in there. A simple task that I'm going to give you right now is taking your tongue and putting it on the roof of your mouth. That tactile connection to the vagus nerve, this large nerve that goes over the top of our palate, down, back, and even connects down into our lungs, activating that vagus nerve, connecting it consciously to your breath can really up your efficiency, your ability to vasodilate, and efficiency within the lungs of uptaking that oxygen and opportunity that you have there. Little, again, micro improvements of that make a profound difference. This is something you can apply throughout your day. I do it in the water, and I really advocate for everybody that I coach to do it in the water. You're sitting up, you're on your board. Put that tongue on the roof of your mouth. Open up through your posture. Take pressure off your diaphragm and really reconnect back to your breath. You're going to preload oxygen. You're going to build confidence. You're going to know that you've done this. Both physiologically, you're going to be in a better place. Mentally, you're going to be in a more resilient, strong place when the unexpected happens to you, because you know you've been preloading this. Just helps you stay calm and it helps you stay focused. So that's your first real practical thing, is check back in by connecting your vagus nerve to your conscious breathing by putting that tongue on the roof of your mouth. So some of the things that we want to talk about, go a little deeper in right here, is kind of how our modern breathing habits really adversely affect our ability to recover, improve our endurance, down regulate our nervous system. So we're not just really leading into this stress that's coming towards us, or that we're populating within our own thoughts and overactive minds. And our breath gets into those shallow places and really, really takes us off of that ability to stay focused, stay calm, and really give your body what you need. So let's talk a little bit about where we find ourselves often driving, stressful within groups of people, whether it's shopping or different environments that we're in that are triggering us back to this really kind of hyperactive mind and body. That's that one category, right? Overwhelmed mentally, really just kind of knocking us off of where our efficiency and presence can be. A lot of times that can be coupled with really bad static postures, sitting at our desk, on our phone, watching television, really passive. So, what I want you to think about right now is, how do I change my posture for the better to physiologically put myself in a place to get more out of every breath that I do take? This is a recurrence. This is a revisiting, if you will, throughout the day, every day. Amazing what you can do when you just do those real simple check-ins. So what we're going to do right now is talk about, how do we positively trigger these things to bring us back to that present moment? And I'll give you a couple practical things. Even though I coach surfers to stay active and surf strong for life, I do this remotely. So I have clients all over the world, which means that the tools and technologies that I'm able to use to connect with these surfers and my clients puts me in front of a computer as well. So I have to be very conscientious about not allowing that to expand and leak over long periods of time to take me out of my own lessons. I need to make sure that I have triggers that allow me to benefit from the same knowledge I'm trying to impart to all my surf clients. The first one that is the most effective, and it's a non-negotiable for me, is every 30 minutes, I have a small little tone that I set. It's just non-evasive. It's just a nice little soft bell that rings that reminds me that that was just 30 minutes that passed. Now, there are exceptions when I'm recording a podcast, when I'm on a client call. Those are exceptions, but those are also have end times to them, and they're focused within kind of those capsules of that. Where it becomes the most important is when I'm doing work that needs to get done, but is also doesn't have any end, because it's always going to have more of that work. Creating content, creating coaching and programming, all of these things that are always part of what I do. I need to make sure that I'm reminding myself when that comes to an end. So that 30 minutes bell sounds, I get myself up. I have a standing desk, so I move between standing and sitting. Just that movement back and forth is also a trigger. So I'll usually go from seated to standing during that time. I also make sure once that bell rings, I take 3 to 5 big, deep nasal diaphragmatic breaths and reset wherever I'm at. If I'm in a standing posture, I tend to squat down a little bit more, change my posture, external rotation of my shoulders. And I take those 3 to 5 big, deep nasal diaphragmatic breaths. If I'm seated, I check into my posture. And a lot of times, obviously, it's passive. Internal rotation within your shoulders, you're dropping down, you're sticking your head out because you're visually still doing work. That load on your neck, mid back, thoracic spine, lumbar spine, low back, it all loads through that whole chain through there. And you want to reset your hips, external rotation through your shoulders, gets that pressure off your diaphragm, gets that chain of muscles active again. This is why our default is always to passive. Your brain is looking to conserve calories. It's telling you, deactivate that muscle because it's taking you calories to do that. So you will never default to an active state. You can get very close to that by just continually positively reinforcing what you're doing within your posture. And then you couple that by putting yourself in a physical state that you're in a much, much better place to be efficient within your breath. And then that helps you start to default to that more efficient nasal diaphragmatic breath. Just like I said earlier, I'll do that same 3 to 5 breaths and I'll put my tongue on the roof of my mouth, getting that vagus nerve activated and really tying it into there. I do that. And then I stand up and I walk outside. I go eat a couple things in my pots and my veggies and walk outside. If it's sunny out and nice, I sit in a chair for just 3 to 5 minutes, let the sun get that vitamin D in while I'm still breathing nice and deep and being present right in that. It's not quite to the level of a focused meditation for me, but I really do try to focus on that presence, clearing my mind as best I can and keying into what I'm doing in my breath to help me improve that. Naturally, it helps me down regulate my nervous system right there, clears things out, lets go of certain things. It puts me in a better place when I come back to the work I have to do. This is the key. This is really the secret of it too, which is if you never break those things up, your brain can continuously stay focused on a task. And what I find myself doing is tending to default to jumping around through things. It's almost trying to give itself a break. And what happens is your productivity and your efficiency just drops. Your breath tends to fall off, your posture gets bad, and you're not being productive either. So those breaks and taking that away and taking that investment of that 3 to 5 minute break, when I come back, I'm much more focused. I get way more done in a shorter period of time by staying really focused on the task at hand. And then I'm done with that and I break off and I go. So that's really important right there for anybody that has desk work, computer work, but it's true for active as well. If you have an active job and you're doing that, you can do those same things and default to passive things and breath checking out. Just those little reminders of breaks. If you have a watch, you can set your timer on that. Some external reminder is really helpful because what I find myself doing when I don't have that is I rarely remember it. It's just natural that you're staying on task with what's right in front of you. And then when I do remember, I look and I go, oh my gosh, it's been 2.5 hours or 3 hours. And I've just either been sitting here, I've been doing this thing. Then I'm upset with myself. And so you're compounding it there. You're not going to gain anything. It's done. Again, learn from the past and let it go. Most of us have these little supercomputers in our pockets way too often, by the way, but they're in there. Use them for the really effective things that they are, which are allowing you to take things off of your conscious mind, yet not forgetting them. They're there, those reminders, and using that tool in a really efficient way will allow your bandwidth to go into your biggest return within breath, within presence, within productivity of whatever you're working on. Coming back through and triggering through breath, which is what obviously we're focused on talking about here today, is really, really powerful. And it takes due diligence and it takes a building of this habit and learn from that because it ebbs and flows. If you allow yourself to be frustrated every time you notice you haven't done something the way you expected or wanted to do it, it reinforces the negative. And we're always looking to reinforce the positive in a productive way. We're not just reinforcing positive and make ourselves feel good. We're really trying to be effective in how we move forward and move through our lives. Breath is the most powerful available way to positively benefit any other thing that you're working on to improve or to minimize something negative in your life. Bringing back to breath is the perfect start place for everything else to follow. Now we're going to shift gears here. We're going to give you some practical in water tools for you to use when you're surfing. They don't change that much, I'll be honest. it's going to sound very similar to what you were doing out of the water. And this is partly what makes it so powerful. When you can connect what you're practicing out of the water to in the water and vice versa, you're exponentially raising your ability to improve on that, to get more out of it. And let's be honest, we wish that our practice in the water was more time and more repetitions. But the reality is, it's always going to be out of the water more. We can only be in the water so many times within a month, a week, a day. Out of the water, the opportunities are exponentially more. But that connection between those two also brings us back to the water. So when we're practicing something that we've practiced in the water, maybe ideally after a key wave, a key memory, something that just lit you up, when you come back from that wave and sit up with these simple tools I'm going to give you here in a second, you're making an imprint even more focused to reinforce that wave. That wave is vivid. It's visceral. It's tactile. It's why we do it. That feeling that you have there is fleeting. Coming back from that wave, sitting up and really focusing into some of these breath tools while being present still physically in that wave is going to deepen the impact and the memory of that wave. And that becomes really powerful because by extension, if you're doing these same breath tools out of the water, you're going to have a better opportunity to get back to that feeling of that wave. Any way to imprint that deeper and carry that throughout our day, that's that positive progression that we're looking to pull those memories and those feelings and those emotions out of the water into our day to day. The better we get at that, the more powerful that connection to the ocean becomes, the more powerful we are vested in the work we do to keep that in our life for the rest of our life. So you're in the water, you paddle out. It was a decently tough paddle out, but you're just a little winded. You're there, you're sitting up on your board. How you sit on your board, I want you to really focus on that as the first. Longboard, shortboard, mid-range, whatever you're on, try to be as balanced on the board as possible. Also, look around. Visually see what other postures you're seeing on board, good and bad, in other surfers. Often you will see back towards the tail more, nose up. And to do that, your feet are active, your hips are having to be active, your hip flexors, those muscles in the front as you're sitting down that get really tight, they're doing the same thing sitting on a board like that. Come up onto your board, be balanced. How balanced and still can you be in the water? So you're conserving energy and calories. You're not clamped down in your hips and you're not utilizing that or exacerbating that stiffness. Between waves is really important. So sit up on your board. External rotation in your shoulders is going to let you be active in your low back. So you're not loading onto your low back and making fatigue happen more there. Again, same as just when we're doing it out of the water. You're going to take pressure off your diaphragm. You're going to be in a position to breathe even better. You might have to clear your nasal passages because from the duck diving, you have water in there. Clear them out. Do that on the regular. And then same thing back to vagus nerve activation, tongue on the roof of your mouth, big, deep nasal diaphragmatic breath. The rhythm in which you do that is important, but it's not crucial. But key into it if you have space, you're really waiting on something. Obviously, if you're really in slightly outside your comfort zone, the surf is big, things are really active, breath becomes even more important, but you can't use a large amount of bandwidth on it. So you have to make sure that you are practicing it out of the water so these become much more natural and you click into them. But you're paying attention to what you have to pay attention. We're staying safe is always our first thing. But you have that space there. Practice coming back to that and centering into your breath. Tongue on the roof of your mouth. Activate. Here's a rhythm for you. 4-second inhale, 8-second exhale. If that's too long, if you find yourself, I'm still kind of winded or you're not able to sustain that, shorten it down. 3-second inhale, 6-second exhale. Why that double up on the exhale is really, really important is you are looking to oxygenate your blood through your cardiovascular system. Clearly, even more important is getting the CO2 off of your system. CO2, I'm going to simplify here. CO2 byproduct of your metabolism through paddling, through your surfing. That byproduct of metabolism is in your bloodstream. It's coming back through your system, out through your lungs, exhaled out. It's looking to balance back into what you have in your bloodstream. You obviously do that with breath. If you're being really inefficient in that exchange of oxygen on, CO2 off. When you are able to double up that exhale, you're getting more CO2 pushing out. It's going to equalize where you need to be. You're going to get back to this recovered stasis point. And then what's going to happen is if it's a long break between sets, you're going to start to go back to your defaults. You're going to start to round over. You're going to start to mouth breathe again, real short. Your brain is looking to be what it sees as efficient. Conserve calories, go act passive in your muscle contraction. Short, I only need this much right now. Don't work harder. These are all defaults that we have. Being conscious of what you're doing is allowing you to prepare for what's coming. Both set wave comes right to you. You're totally ready for it. You spin on it. You're focused, and you have this incredible wave that you're making this memory of. Just as important, that same set wave comes. You spin, you turn. You're a little deeper than you thought you were. You still go for it. Hand slips off the board, and you're going right to the bottom. Poof, that lung full of air is out. If you have prepared before and really been conscious with your breathing, you're going to remind yourself, I'm prepared for this. I know what this is. I have plenty of oxygen. Immediately, you're going to be able to be focused and you're going to be practiced to remain calm and know that everything is fine. You've been through this before. You have plenty of oxygen in your system. And what that's screaming at you is an evolved state of survival. And it doesn't have much to do with reality, especially in that moment right then. You do not need more oxygen at that point. CO2 is going to start rising in your bloodstream, that flicker in your throat, that screaming that starts coming more and more. You need to breathe, is a overreaction to the CO2 rising in your bloodstream. That ability to tolerate that CO2 rising in your bloodstream through practice and repetition and positive reinforcement of the work you do out of the water, in the water, and in that moment is transformative for your surfing. You will be able to surf longer, recover quicker, know that you're being super efficient with the gas tank that you have at any moment in a session.
And we'll be right back.
If you want to paddle longer, recover faster between sets, and feel calmer when the ocean gets heavy, grab my Surf Breath Checklist. It's packed with simple, proven breath tools you can plug into your surf training this week. Hit the link in the show notes or go to surfstrongfit.com/breath. And you'll also join my 3-Wave Wednesday newsletter. Short, powerful tips to help you move, breathe, and surf strong for life.
Now, back to the show.
You're going to be more in tune with where you're at, both I got plenty more. I can stay out for another half an hour, 45 minutes. Everything feels good in my movement, breath, and my mobility that I've been preparing for. And I feel really good right now. Also, the other side, I've been out for 2.5, 3 hours, starting to get a little tired, starting to notice a couple things. My breath isn't recovering as much. I'm still okay. I'm going to stay out just a little bit longer, maybe get a few more waves. Or you go, nope, I'm at the end right here because tomorrow and the next day, this swell is supposed to peak and I want to be ready for that. It's informed decisions, it's preparation, and it's being really aware of where you're at to make those informed decisions because we want to surf strong for the rest of our lives. That also means in that moment to the next day, we're looking to be effective and efficient to get the most out of our surfing. And that includes being very conscious of where you are at any point during a session. That circles back to that same idea. Your hand slipped off your board or the wave sucked out and you free fell to the bottom and poof. If you panic in that moment, and we're talking shy of real risk, we're not talking you're really in a dangerous situation. But if you overreact right there and start scrambling for the surface and panicking and getting up and guess what? You have sucked so much out of your gas tank right there. And that ability to maintain within that session is going to go way down. You're not going to have as much reserve left. You're going to be overreacted at that place. And if you compound it by struggling to your board, getting back out and getting up and then not really focusing back and down regulating back through your nervous system, going back through those gears of your breath, that's just going to compound that overreaction even more. This comes with practice. You will sometimes overreact, but the more you can minimize the occurrences of that, the more you can minimize the extension of that, meaning you did a little panic. Okay, calm. You get back up, paddle back out, and you click right back into that nasal diaphragmatic breathing and bring that heart rate down, bring your respiration down, bring your focus back in. You can minimize the negative impact on it. This takes practice, and practicing and applying it in the water is important for sure, because this is the setting that we're in. This is real. This is happening. The surf's here, waves are happening, other boards, all of the stuff that happens to line up to give us this experience is involved. There's a lot going on, and you need to apply it within those sessions. But this is where perfect practice makes perfect, and that happens out of the water. Practice these things. Practice being conscious of, I'm going to be inefficient with my breath right now. I'm going to do 10 squats and I'm going to do, or 10 burpees and 10 push-ups. And I'm going to really not focus on my breath that much. And I'm going to come back and you're going to be gassed out. And then I want you to sit lotus position or sit in a position that kind of mimics sitting on a chair, mimics you sitting up on your board, and click right back into your breath right there. Vagus nerve activation, good postural, head up, and get that breath recovered. Get that respiration down, get that circulation down, regulate back in there and feel what that feels like to take control of that again and come back into that moment to apply it. Practicing that, being conscious about that, and then obviously doing it in that really efficient way. Do those same 10 burpees on a different day and really be conscious about what you're doing in your breath. And then come off of that and compare those two. They're going to be drastically different. And you're going to see how that's impacting and impactful on your surfing. The last practical place that we're going to talk today is about post-session. Post-session is probably the most overlooked area of opportunity for you to improve your surfing. In other Surf Strong Express shows, I'll talk about what you do specifically within your mobility and your recovery physically within your body to reset your alignment, to minimize overuse. We'll go into that on another session. Today, I'm going to talk about how to extend that connection to that session, post-session in your breath. So regardless of however you judge the session that you just had, every session is good. It's always what we say. When in doubt, paddle out. You're always going to be in a better place post surf. My crappiest surf is still a better day than no surf at all. Extend out your ability to connect to that connection to the ocean by extending out your breath. You're coming in, you're getting out of the water. As soon as you touch sand and you're walking out with your board, check back into your breath. You have space right there. You're physically satiated. You've had some exercise, you've connected. So you have a little bit of fatigue within there. Don't think about what you have to get back to yet. Extend out that session for this next 5 minutes or so. Walking back to your car, walking back to the bike, wherever you're going. Breath, stay present, stay feeling. What does it feel like? Tactile, walking over the sand. What's the wind doing? Stay right in that moment. Extend out that session. Don't click back into responsibilities and chores and errands that you have to run. Be right there. Extend it out. Get back. You get back to your car. If you're riding back on your bike and you're going back to your house, or you have to get back in the car, you're taking out off your suit, or whatever you're doing in that post thing, stay there. Stay right there. Don't check your phone. Leave your phone where it is. Be in there and click back into your breath. Deep nasal diaphragmatic breath all the way through this session. That's coming. Your tasks is your errands and your work and your kids needing you and your family needing you. It's all coming. You're not putting it off. You're just practicing, reinforcing, staying present right in that moment. And you're continuing the connection to the ocean. Continue the connection to the best wave you had on that session. Continue to connect to the wave that didn't go well, that you wish you would have done this or that, and flip it and reframe it into the positive of what I will do the next time, all keying back into your breath. That practical extension of that is another powerful tool to reinforce how breath is central to where you are, what you're working on, how you're improving your baseline resources within your surfing, within your life, within your presence, and minimizing negative impacts physically, mentally, stress. All of these things within it are so tied intricately to the way your nervous system is reacting and overreacting. The key into that and that conscious mechanism that we all have is back to breath. Use it as the powerful tool that it is to connect all of these various areas of your life. Extend out the positive of the surf and the ocean connection into these other areas to help minimize the issues that we have within it and to connect to the positive whenever possible.
Thanks for listening to the Surf Strong Show. Our mission is simple: build a healthier surf community and help you surf strong for life. If today's conversation gave you something valuable, share it with a friend and help spread the movement. For bonus programs, surf-specific training, and ways to connect directly, head to surfstrongfit.com/start. And if you're ready for high-touch, customized coaching, reach out to see if you're a fit for my surf-exclusive program. Until next time, train smart, breathe deep, travel far, and surf strong for life.